Within the Cherokee cultural universe, the sacred does not appear as a separate realm, distant, abstract, and removed, but as a way of reading the world and sustaining life in common. Spirituality is not reduced to belief in invisible beings. Rather, it is a daily discipline that organizes subsistence, regulates the bond between human beings and the natural world, and transforms experiences, hunting, planting, storms, loss, into shared memory. In this light, Kana'ti, Selu, and the Thunder Boys are not characters meant to entertain. They are keys to a social language, names that designate essential functions, set boundaries, teach rhythms, and offer an ethic in which survival is not achieved at the world's expense, but through a responsible relationship with it. To speak of Kana'ti, god of the hunt, and of Selu, goddess of corn and agriculture, is to speak of two pillars which, beyond the economic sphere, shape identity, because hunting and corn are not merely activities, but ways of dwelling upon the earth. The hunter does not simply pursue an animal. He learns to observe, to wait, to read signs. The farmer does not merely sow. He learns to negotiate with time, with rain, with patience. As we know, modern societies tend to separate the ethics of work from the ethics of life, dividing productivity from values. In the Cherokee vision, by contrast, both are fused, because the way food is obtained reveals what kind of community one truly is. Kana'ti is a figure that concentrates the relationship between the human being and the animal, and, by extension, between desire and limit. This spiritual image introduces a crucial idea. The animal is not a mere object. It is life worthy of respect. That respect is expressed in practice, through norms. How much is taken, when it is taken, how it is taken, what is returned symbolically. The hunter learns that success depends not only on skill, but on the capacity not to fracture balance. At this point, a deeper philosophical dimension emerges. Cherokee culture, like many indigenous cultures, suggests that nature is not mute. When more than what is necessary is taken, the world responds with scarcity, disorder, illness, conflict. The response may be symbolic, yet its social function is unmistakable: to prevent excess. Kana'ti thus becomes a guardian of the threshold. He does not forbid hunting. He renders it morally intelligible. Selu, associated with corn, introduces the other pillar: fertility, continuity, nourishment that is not obtained through pursuit, but through care. Corn is an extraordinary symbol precisely because it is not an instant gift. It demands time. It demands a pact with the seasons. It demands that the community think beyond the immediate present. Socially, this is decisive. When a principal food depends on cultivation, the community becomes, of necessity, a workshop of the future. It must plan, share, store, and protect. The economy ceases to be merely today's survival and becomes tomorrow's responsibility. Selu, then, is not only the goddess of corn and agriculture. She is the truth that life endures through what is cared for. Food becomes a symbol of what cannot be secured by violence in the manner of the hunt. For harvest there must be patience. For patience there must be community. For community there must be norms and rituals capable of containing individual ego. Selu represents the power to sustain, power that is not the power to dominate. When Kana'ti and Selu are placed side by side, a social structure comes into view: hunt and cultivation, mobility and rootedness, impulse and waiting. It acknowledges that human life is made of tensions that must be balanced. If there is only hunting, the world can become an endless race. If there is only cultivation, the world can become an absolute dependence upon climate. Balance is not an abstract ideal. It is a concrete adjustment between two ways of obtaining life, and that adjustment requires division of labor and mutual recognition. Yet a culture does not only need to organize subsistence. It must also explain fear. Here enter the Thunder Boys, spirits of thunder. A storm is no minor phenomenon when life depends upon the harvest, upon hunting in the forest, upon roads that can become impassable. A storm can be blessing or threat. It may bring needed rain or bring destruction. For this reason, personifying thunder is not naivete. It is a way of domesticating the unpredictable within language. Thunder becomes a figure that can be narrated, and in being narrated, it becomes teachable. The Thunder Boys often represent forces that exceed the human. Power, speed, noise, surprise, energy. Yet that excess is not only terror. It is also warning. Thunder teaches that there are powers one cannot bargain with, and in doing so it teaches humility, because life is subject to what we do not control. In many worldviews, such forces are associated with correction. When the community falls into moral disorder, the world itself seems to protest through storms, or at least the story interprets it so. Whether that relation is meteorological or symbolic matters less than its social effect. The narrative introduces a responsibility that goes beyond personal interest. Thunder, as spirit, reminds the community of constant participation. For this reason, its presence in the imagination is not ornamental but structural, integrating the natural phenomenon into moral order. Culturally, this produces a society attentive to sky, forest, sound, rhythm. Where thunder is sacred, listening becomes a practiced social virtue. Whoever listens to learn to anticipate, learns not to interrupt, learns to read signs. In communities where speech and oral tradition are central, listening is almost a way of surviving. The Thunder Boys may also be read as a figure of youthful energy potency that must be guided. Thunder is not evil, yet it can destroy when it overflows. Youth is not evil either, yet it can break what it touches when it finds no channel. This myth thus serves as a metaphor of socialization. The community must teach how to channel force, how to turn impulse into responsibility. Thunder is the reminder that energy without orientation is dangerous, and with orientation it becomes life. If we consider the whole Kana'ti, Selu, and the Thunder Boys, we can trace a complete map of existence. Present nourishment, the hunt, the sustaining of the future, planting, and the unpredictable, the storm. In truth, these are not separate themes. They are dimensions of a single question. How does one live in a world that gives, and also takes away? In modernity, the answer tends to be technological, to control, to secure, to dominate. In Cherokee thought, the answer is different, to respect, to balance, to give thanks, and to correct. This is not a matter of idealization. It is a matter of recognizing another logic. When the world cannot be controlled, one learns to relate to it, and that relationship becomes ethical. But that ethic must restrain excess. Taking too much, speaking too much, commanding too much. Excess becomes a form of danger, because the leader who believes himself in the owner becomes a threat to the common fabric, just as the hunter who kills without limit or the farmer who exhausts the soil. The stories function as reminders. No one stands above order. For this reason, the Cherokee worldview poses questions that modernity sometimes prefers to avoid. How much is enough? What does it mean to take without giving thanks? What breaks when life is reduced to utility?